Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of BizTalk. My name is Rick Gutierrez. I am your host and your business advocate. In case you are just now tuning in, we are having a great time having conversations with business professionals, business owners. They're showcasing their expertise and, educating all of us on all of the ins and out of business. They've been in it for quite some time, so they know what they're talking about. But before we get started with our next guest, I also want to thank my co-host, Ms. Emily Galindo, for being on the show and taking on the first half of this segment, this episode actually, where she was interviewing Sean Barnes. And so it was a great segment, and so we hope that you guys enjoy that as well. But let's get into it. We want to talk to the person who is probably the busiest the most during this time of the year, and that is nothing but a tax expert. That is Miss Noura with Noura's Books. Welcome back to the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rick. Glad to be
Absolutely.
here.
It's always, we know that you are super busy during this time of the year, and we just are grateful that you're taking a few minutes to continue to be on the show, to continue to be a supporter of the show, and furthermore, educating all of us and all of our viewers and listeners, because we all need this type of education, because it is that time of the year we all need to get busy and clearing up our books and filing taxes and all those great things. So tell me about the busy time of the year for you right now. You guys must be swamped right now, right?
Yeah, so a lot of deadlines coming up. So now for business owners, if you need to do 1099s, W-2s, the deadline is January 30. So a lot of people coming right now, like they want to do their 1099s, W-2 and W-2s for their employees and contractors. And also a lot of people getting ready for tax season. So those who did not do the monthly bookkeeping, they're not taking care of their bookkeeping during the years. Now they want to clean up everything to make sure they have good tax refund, good tax season, good an accurate tax return. So because if you don't do that, they usually don't have an accurate return. And this is also the time where we review everything with our clients, because if you're familiar with accounting, like we cannot close the month until it has passed and we have the statements, the bank statements, the credit cards, all these nice source documents. So we finalize that within January and we review them. My team, we review them together, and then we review it with our client to make sure everything is done correctly for the entire year, to make sure we have an accurate tax returns for them. And a lot of people started coming to do their business taxes as well and personal taxes, but I know a lot of people still waiting for those W-2s and 1099s. So, but yeah, it's gonna get even busier, but it's always fun to be here in the show, because one of our core value at Noura's Books is education, and we believe that if the person, if the taxpayer knows what to expect, knows what they have to do, um, they will select the right tax professional to work with them. They will also know what to expect and what to have in place so they can be well prepared, so they get the accurate tax returns done for them.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm just so grateful for people like you and people in your industry, because not everyone, I mean, taxes and numbers are not for everyone, right? And we can just, what we are good at is doing business and, leveraging our business and getting business where it needs to be. But then we need to hire those experts to be able to help us get things done, especially around this time of the year. I want to focus on those folks because there's many viewers, listeners that are watching this right now that are in business and have started business for many years and been in business, so they're probably accustomed to what happens during this time of the year. But let's talk directly to those business owners that started their business in 2024. They filed for their LLC or their S-Corp, C-Corp, and this is their first time that they're going to file their taxes for their business. So what do they need to do? What do they need to get ready for? What do they need to provide their CPA, their tax advisor, so that they can start working on that?
Awesome. So first, they need to make sure they are filing the correct return. So if they are a partnership and or S-Corp, their tax deadline will be March 15 every year. But for this year, because March 15 is in the weekend, so the deadline is March 17. First thing I would tell them, do not wait until the deadline. You want to do it as fast as possible. Just right now, if you did not connect with your tax professional or you didn't find someone to work with, make sure you do that right now because you would be too late. And it's okay if you need to do an extension, you can do an extension because that will give you an extra time, even though this is not my favorite because you want to focus on the current year, but it's better to have an extension to make sure things are correctly done than just do something wrong. Because whatever you do with your business return, it's going to reflect and it's going to affect your business return. Now, if we're talking about LLC, that is that is done if you are the sole member. That is done with your personal return. So that deadline is April 15th. So you don't have to worry about having that done in March because you are a single member LLC. Now, if you are a multi-member LLC, meaning that you have a partner with you, that means you have to do your taxes as a partnership, meaning that your deadline is still March 17 for this year. So it's two separate tax returns you need to be doing. And whether you have any activities last year in 2024 or not, you still have to file your tax return. Don't listen to any advice that's going to tell you you don't need to do it unless you have income or you don't need to do it unless you have activities. No, once you register a business, you must file taxes every year. The thing with pass-through entity, it's pass-through entity, it's do pass through your tax return, individual tax return. Now, IRS wants you to do that as an informational return. You don't pay taxes on the entity level. You pay it on your personal level based on your entire situation. But you still have to file your tax return. This is very important to know. I see a lot of people, they do not file because they get the wrong advice. Because a lot of tax professionals, they do not study tax law and they apply the individual tax law to the business tax law. Because if you do not have an income during the year, you do not have to file unless you meet the standard deduction. Now, whether I recommend to file or not, like that's a different topic, but you're not required. So if you did not file, then it will be fine. But in a business level, it's totally different. You should file. So these are two different things. You want to make sure you take care of it. Make sure you apply, you actually file it. Now, the last thing that you mentioned was the C corporation. Now, for those who have a C corporation, that's not a pass-through entity, meaning you are totally different than that entity. The deadline is April 15, just like your personal return. You as an owner, you probably get like dividends that you will get it before, you should get it by now, or you get the W-2. So that's how you get taxed in a personal level. So the deadline for C corporation and for your personal return are the same. So this is the differences that you want to pay attention to. You want to make sure if you did not do bookkeeping, to do bookkeeping. If you are not there yet, maybe like you just started later, you didn't have so many transactions, it's okay. You don't need to do bookkeeping yet, but at least organize everything, all the expenses, all the income, if any, everything. Make sure you organize everything and make sure to answer your accountant questionnaire. Most of the accountants who knows what they're doing, they should have a process, they should have organizers, questions that they ask you, because if you do not answer the questions, if you do not have all the documents that your accountant needs to have, they will miss information. And also I want to point out, like, even if you've been filing with the same professional, for example, who does your personal returns, want to make sure if you got any changes happen during the year, make sure you let your tax professional know. They have those organizers or questionnaires. Make sure to put those information in, because I've seen a lot of people missing a child on the return because they just had a child, for example. And there's so many other mistakes. So it's your responsibility to provide the full information because it's your tax return. You're signing off on those, but your tax professional responsibility is really to ask you the question to have the good process. But at the same, at the end, you are signing off on those, and you will be responsible for anything.
And there's nothing like being well aware that you are signing off on those and you are personally liable for all of that information, which should be all the correct information. And it's going to be all of the right information when and if you hire experts like Noura to be able to guide you in the direction that you need to go. Noura, we've got a couple of minutes left on this particular segment. We know that we can file an extension, and if you can just keep it brief, and then we'll continue the conversation at another segment. But what are the pros and cons in filing extension if needed?
So the problem with the extension is really like this is an extension to file, not extension to pay. So if you owe taxes and you did not pay those taxes, you will end up paying interest on them and penalty because you didn't pay. And this is the biggest issue. Most of the time, people, when they file an extension, they don't pay their taxes because they simply don't know how much they will have to pay, especially if they were not doing bookkeeping. Now, the other consequences, like in my opinion, like you cannot focus on the current year. So you will lose another year just because you did not organize the year before. Right. So if you do it as as fast as possible, it's better to not to have extension. And if you had to have an extension, it's fine. Just do it as soon as possible. Don't let it until the end of the 6-month pass.
Gotcha. Okay. Great information. We certainly do appreciate you being here and educating us on all of these important topics, because we are in that time of the year to where we need to focus on some of those things that are important to continue to drive business forward. So really quick, Noura, I mean, how can our viewers, get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Sure. The best way is really to book a call with my team on nourasbooks.com/contact. You just go to contact us on Noura's Books and you'll just book a time that works for you, and my team will get on a call with you and help you, direct you so we can onboard you to do your taxes.
Fantastic. All right, Noura, thank you once again for being on the show. We look forward to seeing you again on future segments. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to take a quick commercial break. We are going to be back with another subject matter expert, so stay right there. We'll be right back.